Good day everyone, today me, Galimova Adelya, Aruana, Dinara, and Aysha want to present you our IDU project on the topic of Japan and South Korea. To begin with, I want to introduce you with our research question: to what extent did the Japan-South Korea trade conflict affect the trade balance and different stakeholders industry in a given countries in 2019-2023. The Japan-South Korea trade conflict, which began in 2019 with Japan's export restrictions on key materials for South Korea's semiconductors industry, is significant due to its economic, political, and technological consequences. It disrupted global supply chains, particularly in the electronic sector, intensified historical tensions between the two nations, and prompted both countries to diversify their trade dependencies. The conflict highlighted the fragility of interconnected global markets and influenced broader economic policies and regional stability in East Asia.
So our next slide is market analysis, Japanese and South Korea trade relationship analysis. So first we'll start with Japanese producers. Japanese exports to South Korea are mostly photolab equipment, $0.92 billion, and machinery, $0.91 billion, and integrated circuits, plastic sheeting, and scrap iron. Meanwhile, South Korea exports to Japan are mostly refined petroleum, $2.85 billion, and Japan's main consumers of South Korea exports are mostly tech-savvy consumers, young adults, and South Korean main consumers are individuals with families across who buy machinery like Toyota, Honda, and so on. The main demand determinants are consumer preferences, price import goods, and supply determines cost of production and demand, and tariff. Consequences are mostly that the quantity decreased. For example, automobiles were 80,000, while after tariff and after boycott it lowered to 50,000. And secondly, here you can see consumer preferences boycott. Political tensions led to widespread consumer boycott in South Korea. This boycott resulted in significant decrease in demand for Japanese goods in South Korea. The demand curve for these goods shifted leftwards, leading to lower quantity demanded at every price level. Secondly, supply determinants. The export controls and tariff affected these controls reduced the quantity supplies of these materials of South Korea, shift supply curve left, increasing production costs and reducing output of the industry.
So moving to the database structure, we created a database called Japan SKV and SQLite with tables as countries with fields country ID, country name, continent, population. Second table is products with fields as product ID, product name, product category, trade data with fields as trade ID, year, exporting country ID, importing country ID, product ID, and trade value. Fourth table is conflicts with fields conflict ID, year, conflict description, impact on trade, country ID, and stakeholders with fields such as stakeholder ID, stakeholder name, country ID, industry, and impact description. So here also, next to the description of the tables and its fields, you can see the SQL code for these tables. So to make our database usable, we can interact it with Telegram using basic commands like country name. So the user selects country, then user can select a few comments like top partners that returns top trading partners of the specified country, trade volumes that provides information on trade volumes for the specified year, product trade returns the trade volumes for a specific product, country trade provides trade data for a specific country in a given year, conflict impact provides information on the impact of trade conflicts on a specific country. As well as with these comments, there is comments for the initial selection like country, product, and year to specify the searching. Then, moving on to the buttons. Buttons provide a user-friendly way to interact with the bot by offering predefined options, making it easier and faster for users to retrieve information. For example, we can consider this example flow. So firstly, user receives a message with buttons labeled top partners, trade volumes, product trade, country trade, and conflict impact. When the user taps the top partners button, the bot prompts the user to enter a country name. After the user enters a country name, the bot responds with the top trading partners for that country. So the importance of interacting the database with Telegram is firstly, real-time interaction. Telegram bots enable users to interact with the database in real time, allowing for immediate data retrieval and analysis. Second is accessibility. Telegram can be accessed from various devices, including smartphones, computers, and iPads, making it easy for users to query the database from anywhere and anytime. So, user engagement, interactive features like buttons and comments and like pictures enhance the user experience, making it more intuitive and engaging to retrieve data. Also noting that Telegram is very popular. And automation. Bots can automate repetitive tasks such as querying the database and formatting results, saving time and reducing the potential for errors.
Continuing with analysis of trade patterns, I want to focus on the fact that in 2022, South Korea exported $30.5 billion to Japan. The main products exported from South Korea to Japan were refined petroleum, integrated circuits, and hot-rolled iron. During the last 27 years, the exports of South Korea to Japan have increased at an annualized rate of 2.12% from $17.3 billion in 1995 to $30.5 billion in 2022. And secondly, in 2022, Japan exported $50.8 billion to South Korea. The main products exported from Japan to South Korea were machinery having individual functions, integrated circuits, and refined petroleum. And during the last 27 years, the exports of Japan to South Korea have increased at an annualized rate of 1.86% from $30.9 billion in 1995 to $50.8 billion in 2022, according to South Korea and Japan Trade OEC no date.
Now I would like to talk about the challenges in international trade. So the first challenge is export controls and trade restrictions. In 2019, Japan placed export restrictions on essential materials like photoresist, hydrogen fluoride, and fluorinated polyamides that are vital to South Korea's semiconductor and display sectors. The supply chain was severely disrupted as a result, in production delayed, higher expenses, and shortages beset South Korean tech enterprises. This damaged the two countries' economic ties and had an impact on the global IT supply chain. The second challenge is tensions in politics. Trade policies and corporate feelings were impacted by historical concerns that escalated tensions, such as disagreements over labor rights during wartime and territorial conflicts. As a result, because of mutual mistrust, businesses that depend on bilateral commerce, including travel, orders, and consumer electronics, boycotted each other's products and services. Third is disruptions to the supply chain. The trade dispute caused uncertainty and disturbances in well-established supply chains, especially for sectors dependent on high-tech components and just-in-time manufacturing. So business had to spend more on diversifying their supply chains and look for alternate suppliers, frequently at greater rates. This led to an increase in opening costs and complexity. First is regulatory and conformance difficulties. Administrative and compliance hurdles were established for the export and import of goods between the two countries due to increased inspection and additional regulatory requirements. As a result, trade efficiency and competitiveness were hampered by delays, more paperwork, and greater compliance costs for businesses. Fifth is market and economic volatility. The trade dispute impacted investor confidence in exchange rates by adding to economic uncertainty and market volatility. Impact companies, especially those engaged in foreign commerce and investment, found it challenging to arrange their finances due to fluctuating market conditions. So here I want to suggest some possible solutions. First is negotiation and diplomatic engagement. The suggested remedy is to start high-level diplomatic discussions with the goal of using negotiations to settle historical grievances and trade conflicts. Anticipated result is lowering political polarization and creating a foundation for sound economic connections to promote a more stable trading climate. Second is frameworks and trade agreements. The creation of through trade agreements with provisions for dispute resolution and precisely outlined trade regulations is suggested remedy. Anticipated result is offering a methodical technique to overseeing trade connections, guaranteeing equitable procedures, and diminishing the probability of abrupt trade limitations. Third is supply chain diversification. Proposed solution is encouraging companies to get materials from several nations and make investments in domestic alternatives in order to diversify their supply networks. Anticipated result is reducing reliance on any nations for essential resources and strengthening their resilience against supply chain interruptions. Fourth is improved collaboration and regulation. The suggested remedy is to expedite trade processes and compliance requirements by putting in place mutual recognition agreements and cooperative regulatory frameworks. Anticipated result is decreased bureaucratic obstacles, decreased expenses associated with compliance, and enhanced trade effectiveness among the nations. And the last one is programs for economic partnerships. The suggested remedy is to establish initiatives for economic partnerships that encourage cooperation, innovation, technology development, and research. Anticipated result is enhancing economic relations and promoting reciprocal expansion by capitalizing on the advantages and proficiencies of every nation, especially in the realm of advanced technology.
So, in conclusion, increased domestic production and diversified imports, export controls, and consumer boycotts significantly disrupted both economies. Notable welfare losses and sectoral impacts were seen as a consequence of them. Here you can see our used resources.